Hey everyone, Bass family, welcome back. This is Sounds Like Ben, and we are ready to go live. Cool. So today, going to walk you through the gear that I have right now and uh, some upcoming sneak previews for a few reviews that are going to be underway soon. Cool. Sorry, setting that one down. I was holding it for the picture. It went live quicker than I was ready to, but here we are. Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday morning. Cool. So, hey, this is my studio, music room, and we're going to go through some gear. All right, for the first thing spotted here, the Mark Bass amp right there. That's one of the Momark amps. I've been using that for years now, like well over a decade, I think. And recently down at the NAMM show, hung around for a while with the guys from Trickfish and just really dug the sound of their amps. Also was super impressed. Tal Wilkenfeld was playing it at the Bass Bash, and I was surprised at how kind of warm and woolly it sounded for a Class D amp. So anyway, this amp-wise here, that's just a power converter. We don't need that. This is a Bullhead 1K. Pretty cool. Not too heavy. Yeah. Easy enough to pick up. I'm making a mess, dropping things, music, stuff. All right, let's get into the basses. This bass rack behind me, these have been in videos of one form or another before. I'm going to set this down. Let's see. So for starters, this is a first-year Squier Classic Vibe, and it's strung with, I think D'Addario was making these strings called half wounds, but they are pretty much flat wounds at this point because they're old. But I love the way that bass sounds, and that's what I do for my kind of old school flat wound P bass vibe. This is a parts jazz bass. It's kind of interesting. It is a Warmoth neck on a Fender custom shop body with a badass bridge. In there is an OBP1 by Aguilar, DiMarzio Ultra Jazzes. And the story behind this is there was a music store in Dallas called Larry Morgan Music, Garland, Texas, technically, which I'm not sure if it's still there or not. This was back in 2003, and someone had a Fender custom shop bass, and someone else had a Warmoth bass or something. Had the Fender custom shop, didn't like the way it sounded, put the Warmoth neck on it, and traded it in. And I guess at this music store, over and over again, adjusting to the lights there, over and over again, the basses would come in where they'd have like the body, the custom shop body and the Warmoth neck, or the custom shop neck and the Warmoth body. And all they ever wanted to do was have both in the store at the same time so that they could put the custom shop instrument back together, which of course is worth more money than a combo like half parts bass. But fact of the matter is that bass just sounds killer. So I picked it up like that, and I've had that bass now for years and years and years. 2003. So 17 years. It's hung around for a while, and it's always kind of my reference for tone. It's alder body, maple neck. At some point, I'll find a 6-string bass with that wood combo and tone and playability, or have one made or something like that, because that's definitely in the works for the future. Let's see. Others. This is a 1982 G&L L2000E, and the interesting things about these, so this is early G&L with a paddle headstock. There we go. That's probably a better look at that. Paddle headstock, mahogany body. The these had an ebony fingerboard, which is pretty sweet. And I use these for the Thumpin' Thursday videos, which I haven't done one in a while, and maybe I should get back into it. It's not light. But the other thing that they're pretty good for is an approximation of a wall. I definitely dig that kind of thing. All right. We've got more people coming on board. Awesome. Thank you all for being here. And now that we've got a few people in, I guess the first thing that I really want to say with some people here is thank you. Hit 1,000 subscribers now. Although I've owned the channel for I don't know a long time. I didn't really start working on it until about a year ago, and I'm super thankful for having made it to 1,000 subscribers. It's just thank you. It's a lot of work, but it's also really gratifying that the community has been very supportive in feedback, both positive and areas where I need to improve. And I've learned a ton. When I started the channel, well, I basically was in a situation where was out of work, and I thought I want to spend more time making music because I had been in a position where I was working like 90 hours a week and had no time to do anything with music. And I wanted music to be a bigger part of my life again, and had a whole bunch of ideas. And I'll have to give credit to my friend Ryan, who's lifelong friend. I had build an app, YouTube channel, private instruction, gigging all kinds of ways. And there are a lot of ways out there that you can make music a bigger part of your life. And now Ryan, who's an amazing videographer, film editor, and documentarian, he looked at that and said, well, making videos, that's definitely the way to go. That's the easy, which is, of course, for him with decades of experience, much easier than it has been for me. But he's also been amazingly supportive. He works for Reason Studios and does a lot of their social media videos, really cool instructional videos. Even if you don't use Reason, you should check them out, because they are the videos themselves will teach you a lot about recording music and mixing music. I found those very helpful. And of course, he has been an amazing friend and given me a lot of help along the way with video editing as well. I can literally say he's taught me everything I know about it at this point. So thanks, Rye. And thanks to everyone else. So thank you. I'm really grateful. All right. Back to basses. This is a Yamaha BB 1025. This is the bass. This is in the shootout with the other Yamaha BB 434. This is a 5-string rosewood fingerboard. I don't remember what the bodywood is. I don't remember what the bodywood is on it, but what I do know is that it just sounds great, especially on dance tracks and things like that. It always records well. That's this one. And then, let's see. Cool. This Yamaha BB 434, I tell students, new bass players, this should definitely be on your list of basses to consider. They offer a whole lot of tone, good quality of finish. It's alder body, maple neck, rosewood fingerboard, like very kind of standard, standard wood choices, great sounding pickups, good quality for under $500. And I tell new people, if they're looking for a bass to start with, you are in really good shape here. Far better than, I would say, the bass I started with, which was a P-bass copy, a Blade. Although, honestly, if I could come across it, I'd get it again just for kind of nostalgia purposes. Anyway, Yamaha BB 434, super cool neck joint. There's a video on that as well, where it's the bass comparison with the 1025. Then, let's see. Some of these have also been seen in the Will It Getty video. So You have a very Rick James looking 1978 Rickenbacker 4001. These are really their own animal. They are, there's just something, they don't feel like any other instrument when you're playing them. You tend to want to play different lines. But I enjoy that. What I will say is, like the tuners on these, not great. They're backwards, which is a little bit awkward. You get used to that. But it's like, I don't know. It's a vintage instrument. That said, it has that sound. If you're a fan of, so Rick James certainly for the color combo, but also I'm a huge Chris Squire fan, and so having a Rick is a big part of it for me. All right, and then one more last in the basses that everyone's already seen, and just the knob here. This is a first year Ibanez GWB1. This is one of those basses that is never going anywhere. Just always going to have that nice, the curved Bartolini pickup, ash body, maple neck, ebony fingerboard. These are super rad. At one point, I had a second one of these that I bought and had fretted. Unfortunately, it was stolen shortly after that. It was cool. I will say this one I always liked a little bit more than the one that was fretted, and it's always a bummer to have any gear stolen, for sure. I mean, that was this point. That was like many years ago. Anyway, that's it for the basses that everyone has seen. In terms of something up and coming, well, we have this cool Spector Euro 4 LX. And this kind of this cool maple top. It's a little piece of walnut in the middle, alder in the back, maple neck. So I was a big fan of Doug Wimbish. Living Color's Stain album was kind of it wasn't my first introduction to Spector. I think when the first year I started playing bass, I was at a car show, and I was, a teenager, maybe 14, something like that. And there was a guy there with a bass, and when they performed, he did, the bass was on a locking strap, and he did the kind of thing where he spun the bass around and it went over and around on his neck, and it was just like, oh my God, that's so cool to my 14-year-old brain. So that was my first introduction to Spector. But shortly after that, Living Color's Stain album, Doug Wimbish, it was like, oh, hey, the guitars are pretty heavy, but you can hear the bass really clearly. So that was the first thing I noticed. And then I guess after that, it was also, he's got this great way of playing where he's got the line going, but as he adds in fills and all kinds of other sounds, and he's got this monstrous effects board, you never lose track of the bass line of the song. The groove never drops out, just these other things pop in really key moments. So that was a big influence on me, and I've really been enjoying playing this bass for the last week or so. So that'll be coming up. Put that over here for a minute. Oh, here. You know what? I'll put it on a stand. That's better than just sitting on the ground. Cool. Walking over. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them in the chat bar. All right, let's see. A couple other things coming up here for reviews. Sounds like Ben love short scale basses. This is a Gibson. It's called the Les Paul Jr. And they are, it's kind of like American-made satin finish. We'll get into these in much more detail with the review coming out. Really cool single pickup short scale bass. This, Supro Huntington 2. If you're a fan of Evan Marion, he plays a Supro on a lot of his stuff. They're super cool. Both of them are set neck short scale basses. Very different basses from each other. Of course, the Spector we went over. And then I guess the last thing here. Let's go. This we're going to flip this case around because the case kind of gives it away. This is more or less my new #1 bass right now. Dun, 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 dun. F bass. Let's take this over and check it out. Walk with me. Now, not sure if any of you have ever owned an F bass before. Yeah, Cowboy Bebop. It's one of my favorites. That's a little hard to see, but original artwork referencing Star Trek. And this is the F bass. So, got this from a guy in Florida. It just came in, and it's pretty awesome. I owned a purple F bass at one point a while ago, and it was great. String spacing was a little bit wide for me. My hands are not the biggest, not the smallest. I don't know. I'm like 5'10", pretty normal sized person, but I find that really wide spacing on necks, 18 or above, are a challenge in terms of the way they line up for my hand and my finger joints. For someone else, that may be totally fine, just not for me. It's actually why I sold the Ken Smith, as awesome of a bass as that was. Anyway, the special thing about this F bass is that it has 16 millimeter spacing, that's actually narrower than I've had before. The Kiesel that I had was 16 1/4, but this lines up. It's out of tune. Will I start playing songs? Yeah, sure. I'll start playing songs. Let me plug something in. And then that's way too many strings for you. You know, I don't know how it quite ended up. Well, I'll tell you how it ended up this way. When I first started playing, which was 1991 was when I first started playing, was right at the time that Primus got big. And Les Claypool had this just totally badass rainbow Carl Thompson, probably, a relatively famous bass out there, 6-string fretless. And shortly after that, let's adjust this so the bass is in the view. There we go. Okay. How's the sound here? Is this distorting? Is it all right? Yeah. Let's see. So, man, I really do love this bass. I want to make sure I'm not distorting the audio here. Yeah. See if I can get a pick out. I recently played this bass with a pick for the first time. Last weekend I was at a rehearsal for a new progressive rock project I'm doing. Do I have a pick somewhere? There we go. People have all kinds of different preferences on picks. I like these are the Dario Dorland picks. There are also ones that, yeah, here they are. These are the ones I use. They are called Black Ice. Pretty thick, 1.5 millimeters, very small. Let's adjust that to brighten it up a little bit. Thanks, Xander. So anyway, this is the F bass. And what I was saying before about the knuckles lining up, if I were barring across 4 strings on a wider string spacing, I find that this knuckle joint or this knuckle joint would always end up being like right on top of one of the strings, and I would end up with buzzing. But on these, it's don't have that problem here. Cool. That's the F bass. I'm going to put that down for a minute. Bye-bye, baby. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice or not. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold, which to my knowledge has nothing to do with coronas, fortunately. No fever or anything like that. Hope you are all feeling well out there. What else? Anything else about the setup to go over? Oh, you know what? A few pedals worth checking out here. Let's see. So this Boss SY1 synth pedal Tracking's pretty good. This is their, they've got the SY300 and the SY1000. Those things are, GT1000. Those things are pretty intense. This is a much more pared down version. Still has a lot of sound variation in it. I do like that it's polyphonic. It's pretty cool. A couple more. This is Boss Chorus CEB3. This to me is like gets that classic bass chorus sound that you're looking for. And let me actually like preface, I'm relatively new to the pedal game. Like I've, a compressor and a tuner. It's about all I've run before. But I love this chorus pedal. Certainly like Mark King, that kind of slap sound sounds good on that, or Jeff Berlin. I've always loved his sound, and even Jimmy Haslip, early Yellow Jacket stuff sounds good in a completely different direction tonally. Probably ought to do something on a review on this pedal too. This is the Tech 21, what's it called? DP3X. Will I use the pedals? It might take me a minute to get some of them plugged in. I can check them out. Yeah, sure. Is there any particular pedal you think you'd like me to use? So let's say Boss DP3X, Chorus DP3X synth pedal. And then I have an octaver. Everyone knows what an octaver sounds like. Give me just 1 second. I'll plug this in. Oh, I'll do the synth one because that tends to, yeah, synth pedal. Yeah, okay. That is the pedal that is maybe a little wilder sound and a little less commonly heard. Yeah, sure. We take the output, put the output into the amp, and bass and input. Oh, helps to also plug in the pedal. It's a good thing this isn't a radio show. This would be total downtime. Hey, Paco, how you doing? Paco, R.S. Paco Chaga, is a wonderful drummer and musician from Intravoice. And I've played with Paco in the past. He also has a great YouTube channel, which you should check out. A lot of interviews and just overall fun to enjoy listening to Paco. And I hope to see you soon, man. All right, the pedal's plugged in, and let's see what settings we have. I don't even know what. Needs more volume. Of course, when I pick it up and pull the volume up, then I end up with unplugging it, plug it back in. What a mess. All right, now we're back. There we go. That's one sound. Now, I've got this set up right now with the bass out, but you can put the organic tone back in. I found that it's very sensitive to the level of your input. Like if I'm plucking very lightly, it hits right away, but if I pluck harder, yeah, it is a pretty cool pedal. I have not yet figured out how to get kind of the Pat Metheny tone out of it, which is really all I want out of a synth pedal for me most of the time. Let's get a few things out here. I need to get a longer power cord because every time I pick up the pedal to do something, you know what I should do? This is how we're going to sort this out. We're going to move the laptop down onto the floor so I can stop unplugging it. All right, everybody. Oh yeah, hey, PC. PC, Mac, whatever works for you, use it. That's totally cool. There we go. I love the way it sounds when you pluck harder. Cool. Yeah, that's like, you know, one of the characteristics of synth is that, oh yeah, I already switched to a different sound. Let's see if we do this. Look at that mess of chords. Amazing. I'm glad that's on screen now. Oh yeah, this one's pretty cool. This is, you can just, I'm going to take the bass out a little bit. Let's see what else do we have in here. Turning this to this one's called bass. Oh yeah. Hey, while we're at it, let's have some fun. Let's see what this organ, right? Let's take it's kind of a weird. Why on earth would I try and tune with that on? So you've got basically, I'll run through this. These two knobs both have an inner and an outer. The inner here is your bass level. I'm going to choose a different sound so you maybe hear that a little bit better. Okay. So all right, we've got, these are basically two volumes. The inner volume is your effect, right? And the outer volume is your direct sound. So now they're both up. I'm going to turn my bass sound down, keep it mostly the affected sound. Let's see, then you've got tone rate on the inner and depth. That's the depth all the way down. Let's turn the depth all the way up. You can also plug an expression pedal into these, which I think controls that. And then here is your tone/rate. Like your filter. then you have this variations, right? So leaving this, I'm on the first lead, right? So all of these, hey man, have a good time at church. Hope the worship service goes well, Paco. Take it easy, man. So anyway, it's got 10 variants here per sound, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, it's 11 and 11. You've got 122 different variations of the settings. I'm definitely not going through all of those settings here, but that one's cool. Can I play piano? Poorly. I can pluck out things enough. What's sometimes referred to as kind of like compositional piano. I can pluck out things enough to like get a little melody there, or work out chord changes, but not in any sense am I like I'm going to show up and do a piano gig. But it is very helpful as a tool. My sons and I have a brass trio that we work on, and it's helpful to kind of work out parts together that way. We'll play along, do ear training games. So while I'm not a piano player, I definitely think that everyone should have a piano in their home, or some keyboard or something. It's just great for musicians. Cool. So thank you all for joining. That about wraps this up, and running out of time here, but that's it. So thank you. In addition to joining the live stream, just 1,000 subscribers is feels good. Looking forward to getting to 5,000 or more. Looking forward to bringing you more gear. Please let me know in the comments if there are things that you think I should do. A lot of people have said I should do another one of the 5 basses under 500, or maybe a variation that uses 5-string basses. Working on those as well. Certainly not at a point where I can like go buy all 5 of those basses. But as this gets bigger, that helps me work with manufacturers to bring in kind of more high quality shootouts and things like that. But super appreciative. Thank you, everyone. And I hope that you have a great Sunday. All right. Thanks. Take it easy. See ya. I'm pressing the end stream button and it's not ending. That's really funny. Look, press. Yeah. All right. Let's see if this works.